got another crazy story sent to me. This guy's wife of 16 years, got bored with her husband and she wanted to open a marriage. Well, my wife and I are both 36 years of age. We got married young, we were 20 years old at the time and we have been married for 16 years. We have 2 beautiful children, a boy who is 10 and a girl who is 8. My wife told me about 6 months ago that she was no longer happy. She said she needed more excitement in her life and she felt like she was missing out on something. I asked her what she meant by that and she said she wanted to open our marriage. My response was, "Whoa, what, are you serious?" She said she was very serious and that she had been thinking about it for a long time. I told her I needed some time to process this and we agreed to talk about it again in a few days as these days went by. I can only feel that I was not enough and it pissed me off. But I also thought that I could see other women too. But I still couldn't get over the fact that I would be intimate with my wife after all these men. The other thing that bothered me was the double standard, as I call it. She could do as she pleased. But if I were to look at another woman, she would flip out on me anyways. We talked again a few days later and I asked her, "Well, what about me? Do I get to see other women?" She said, "No, that would be too difficult." I told her that wasn't fair. And she said, "Well, you can if you want to, but I'm not sure I'm ready for that yet." So there it was, the green light was on for her, but not for me. Needless to say, I was not happy about this. So I told her, "You can have your open marriage, but I will not be a part of it and I will contact an attorney tomorrow." She then says, "Please, can you just think about it?" I interrupted and said I already have thought about it and I don't want to share my life with anyone. I told her we have been married for 16 years and all of a sudden you are not happy and you want to open the marriage and sleep with other men. I let her have it. I told her I gave her 2 beautiful kids in a nice home. She didn't have to want for anything. Her response was cold-hearted. She said, "Well, I guess I will have to find someone who wants to be in an open marriage." She then proceeded to pack her bag and tried to take the kids with her. I stopped her and told her, "You're going to have to fight me for the kids." At this point, I couldn't believe how someone could be so cold literally overnight. I mean, she didn't apologize or anything. She just wanted her way, and to hell with me. Fast forward a few days and the kids are just shocked that their mother has not been around. I really didn't know what to tell them all. I told the kids Mommy was working on a big project at work and was going to be gone for a while. The kids were really worried and they asked me every day, "When is Mom coming home?" I would just tell them Mom will be home soon. A few weeks went by and my wife still had not contacted me for the kids' sake. I tried to call herself and even sent a text message and all I said was, "The kids are worried about you." She did respond to the text wanting me to tell the kids that she was fine. The next day I contacted a divorce attorney and made an appointment to get the divorce process started. We reside in California. So I knew that it didn't look well for me. The only thing I had in my favor was the house was mine. It was deeded to me before I married my wife, meaning I knew she was not entitled to the house. When I met with the attorney, he told me the same thing. He said I was lucky if my wife made payments on a mortgage and the house was only in my name, she would still be entitled to it. He just kept saying "You are so lucky," but he said I wasn't out of the woods yet. We talked about child support and he told me even though the house is yours, if joint custody is awarded, you still may have to pay child support. He said, if you make more money than your wife, you will have to pay child support. But if it's close, you may not have to. Needless to say, I wasn't too worried about this. She makes good money herself. She works as a store manager for Walmart and she calls the shots. If her store does well, including keeping loss prevention down, theft, she is awarded huge bonuses. I am an assistant manager for a computer store. So I don't make as much as my wife, but I make decent money. At this point, I told the attorney to go ahead and file for the divorce, and he did. And now it's just a waiting game. After meeting with the attorney, I went home and waited for the kids to get home from school. When they got home, I again lied to my kids and said Mom was working out of state. I felt so bad for them, but there was nothing I could do. At this point, a few weeks went by and divorce papers were served to my wife via certified mail. She did not sign for them. So the post office sent him back to the attorney. He then had to hire a process server to serve her. A few days went by and we received a call from the process server telling us that she signed for the divorce papers. I was happy to hear that now I can start healing per se. But I was still worried about the kids in this upcoming divorce hearing. Fast forward to the day of the divorce hearing and my wife shows up with her attorney. Keep in mind the kids haven't seen their mother in 2 months and they are still asking me every day, "When is Mom coming home?" My wife's attorney asked to speak to my attorney before we go into the courtroom and he agrees. Her attorney then hands my attorney a piece of paper and my attorney tells me that my wife wants me to agree to her having full custody. I said to my attorney, I am not agreeing to that. My attorney then told me he will ask for alimony. He then told me we will have to have a separate hearing for the custody of the kids and child support. All in all, I got alimony. I didn't expect alimony. It turns out my ex-wife had a separate bank account that my attorney was able to uncover through a subpoena. She had almost $40,000 in it and she made just under $90,000 a year. As a store manager at Walmart, didn't think they made that much money. I ended up getting $1,000 per month for spousal support for 9 years, which I didn't expect even with me having a job. Child support would be decided at another date at family court. Fast forward 3 months and at the family court, the judge ruled for joint custody. After the hearing, the kids got to see their mom for the first time in almost 6 months. I never wanted the kids to not see their mother. I am not the one to hold grudges. So we set up a schedule and it took effect right away. The kids would stay with their mom during the week and come home on the weekends. It was hard on all of us at first, but we got used to it and things were going well. As time went on, I noticed the kids telling me more about their mom's new man she had in her life. They told me his name was Derek and he had a son that was their age. They also told me he was mean to them and they didn't like him very much. I asked them why and they said he would cuss at them and call them names. I didn't like that. So I called their mom and asked what was going on with Derek. Why was Derek being mean to my kids? To my surprise, she was cordial. She said she didn't know why Derek was being nasty to the kids and she said he was not mean to the kids in front of her. But she would ask him about it. A few days went by and I didn't hear anything from my ex-wife about Derek. So I called her again this time. She was not cordial. She pretty much told me to mind my own business and that Derek is a good man. So as time went on, I asked the kids, has Derek ever hit them? And they both said no. I didn't ask them if Derek ever calls them names or cussed at them in front of their mom. And they both said no. Then one day my ex-wife calls me and asked to meet me. I was confused as to why she did. I didn't have anything to say to her. But I was curious, what did she want? We meet at a coffee shop and she tells me that she was sorry for everything that happened with the divorce and being selfish, wanting an open marriage. I told her to save it. The main point I wanted to get across was be a good mom to the kids. After I said that, I got up and left her sitting at the table. A few weeks after that, I was at my son's baseball game and Derek was there with his son. I went over to him and told him to stop calling my kids names. And if he put his hands on them, they will bury him the following week. He looked at me like I was crazy, but he got the message. I am sorry this was so long, But I wanted to tell my